Okay, so we are at the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining me. My name is Spencer. I am the Chief Product Officer here at Cronometer.com. Mariev is joining me she's our Head of Customer Service. She and I are going to kind of walk you through the app, show you all the gold features today, and answer any questions you have as well. We'll also show you some of the more advanced tricks you can do on the app that might help you guys get a better experience while you're using it. So I have a quick slideshow for you. What are we going to cover in the webinar? Specifically, we're going to go through this brief introduction and a little bit of housekeeping, so we have some guidelines set for everybody. Then we're going to go through a screen-by-screen demo of our features. We may not focus so much on setup, but we're going to go through all the gold features around logging food, creating custom foods and recipes, data analysis, basically everything you get with the gold membership. And we're going to show you so that you can see how easy that is going to make your life. And then we're going to get, as we go, I'll make some space for questions along the way. So if you have a question, go ahead and click that Q&A button, pop open that panel, and then just type your question. So some housekeeping. We do not give out personalized nutrition recommendations. So if you are looking for personalized advice, I would recommend working with a healthcare professional, a diet coach or trainer, a dietitian coach or trainer. And Cronometer actually has a professional version that a number of pros actually use in their practices. So towards the end of the webinar, I'll show you guys, we actually have a professional directory where you can look up the pros that are using us in their practice. So another thing we won't cover here is feature requests. So we have a survey that'll pop up at the end of the webinar. We ask for your feedback, a little bit of feedback, and we'll also give you some space to tell us what you want to see in the app that would help improve your experience. And if you see a question you like in the queue, you feel free to like that. It'll pop up to the top, and I'll get that answered sooner. And then any replays that we're recording this today. We're going to post the replay up on YouTube. That will be, usually it's available by the start of the following week, so maybe Monday or Tuesday. And then, we do it all over again, every week we're doing these webinars. So, and if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to contact support@cronometer.com. We're very responsive, and we should be able to get you answers to your questions as soon as we can. So I want to frame our discussion today around, why use Cronometer to, maybe reach a health goal, to manage a medical condition, any number of reasons. And we have the highest quality, most accurate data of any of the tracking apps that are out there. We track over 80 micronutrients, and we do that by plugging into a number of high quality databases that, and these are labs that are actually testing the food for all the different nutrients. And then they put that data out there. We use that data. And in addition, we have our own curation team that's constantly going through that data, not only vetting new databases, but also looking at user-submitted foods such that we never have any inaccurate data. We never have any duplicate entries. We're always making sure our data is as high quality as possible. And because we're giving you guys so much data, and our app is built around this notion of the micronutrition data, because we're built around that, we provide tons of data analysis tools to make sense of everything you're getting every day. Not only every day, but over time as well. Because over the long term, that's where your nutrition, your nutritional averages, they really matter. And because Cronometer is built around the fundamental micronutrition, those are the fundamental pieces for any diet, you're going to find that Cronometer is customizable to just about any program. And finally, we're secure. So we believe that the user owns their own data. So at any point, you could delete your account and remove all your data from our system. We don't keep anything. We also follow, we're HIPAA self-certified. We are GDPR compliant. We use end-to-end encryption. Not only that, but we also have just released a two-factor authentication feature that allows you to make your account even more secure. You can find that under the accounts setting. I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, that's just one of our principles. So that's also something that we build into the app. So who's using Cronometer? I mentioned we have a professional version. So, tons of people use it for their individual, goals, but we also work with a number of large institutions that trust our data more than any other tracker out there. And so they're using us for things like running their nutrition program in hospitals or doing academic or clinical research. And, we work with these large groups, but we work with everyone from coaches, trainers to small practices. And, we've been able to build some great relationships over the last couple of years. So that is the presentation. We are going to jump to the demo now. And again, feel free to post any questions as you have them. So I'm going to show you guys on the web. I'm going to show you how certain things work, and then I'll also show you how they work on the mobile app, because the mobile app, the UI is very different. So, you may not know where to look for certain things. Yeah, so we're just going to get started. I'm going to start on the diary page. And on the diary page, there's a number of gold features that you guys should know about. Plenty of them make your life really easy in terms of planning your diet and getting food logged quickly. So I'm just going to start from the top in the Add Biometric category here. Actually, first thing you're probably going to notice, you have diary groups in here. So you can actually create a little bit of a structure to your day. So maybe that's simply breakfast, lunch, dinner. It could be afternoon snacks. It could just be things like I have up the top here, biomarkers. So if you're measuring certain biometrics that you want to keep track of over time, you can monitor those here. And you can set that up by going to settings, display, and then scrolling down just a bit, and diary groups is going to be that second panel on this page. And what you can do is you can turn it on. I think it turns on by default when you upgrade to gold, but you can also come in here and you can turn things on or off, and you can customize the names by just typing in them. And so yeah, so anyway, so you can basically customize your day based on whatever program you might be trying to follow. And go back to the diary. And those changes will show up here as you make them. Now, just below that, I want to show you guys the nutrition targets. So this is another feature that's going to be enabled by default once you upgrade. And what you see here is, I'm just going to zoom in just a bit. You are looking at a set of nutrition scores. And basically what this is it is a series of functions that in the body that groups of nutrients kind of contribute to. So you see we have immune support here. We tell you what the critical nutrients are for that particular function so that you know how well you're actually doing in terms of supporting your body in a number of different ways. And, this is really important because I don't think, I know I certainly don't, even though I work in the nutrition space, I don't think of when I think of my diet, I don't think of, did I get enough vitamin B12 today? Did I get enough, zinc? I think in those higher level concepts, which are, did I get enough to recover from training today? Or am I supporting my immune system adequately with my nutrition? So these scores here will actually give you an idea of what that looks like. And so we can click on one of these and see the nutrients that are the contributors to the score. And if you wanted to read some more research on how we calculate all that, you can click the I button here. And yeah, so you have the ability to customize these too. So if we go back to settings, and we're going to go just below diary groups here, we have up to 8 customizable scores. We're constantly releasing new ones. So we have I think on the plate soon is going to be keto or ketogenic critical nutrients and vegan critical nutrients. So you can, if you're doing either of those those diets, you can basically get a sense of how well you're tracking with the nutrients that are really important to get from your diet, or that might be harder to get from your diet if you're following those styles. Right, so back to the diary. So scrolling down just a bit further, so here's all our lovely nutrition information. we have nutrient balances. So this is another feature that will appear when you upgrade. You don't have to turn it on or anything. But what it is it shows you some very basic nutrient ratios that are critical to daily health. And the most common one that most people are familiar with is the omega-3 to 6 ratio. And yeah, there's a few others there. And again, if you want more information, you can always click on this eye icon on any area of the app to get a little more information. So scrolling back up here, I'm going to just pause on our fasting widget. So this is a fairly new feature. We do track fasts. So if you're doing intermittent fasting or you are doing any kind of extended fast or anything like that, you can actually track your fasts using Cronometer now. And when you turn it on, it's not on by default. When you turn it on, you will have this widget in your diary, and you can then set up a fast. You can manage it from here as well, and you can see your progress through it. And what's really cool about our fasting feature, and we'll get into this a little later, is that you can actually, we'll keep track of your history too. You can actually then see it on our charts as well. We can visualize all your fasting periods on the charts. So that's pretty cool. We'll get to that a bit later. So back up to the top here, we're going to look at Add Biometric. So we just updated the UI for Add Biometric, which looks a lot cleaner than it used to be, that tiny little dialogue you had to navigate. And we've made more prominent the gold feature on this dialogue, and that is Add Custom Biometric. So maybe you're running a program that wants you to keep track of something that we don't have in our database just out of the box. What you can do here is you can actually click on this, and you can set a name and a custom unit for a biometric. So we've had everything from people measuring their pain scale throughout the day. So just a simple scale of 1 to 10, and you can you can add that as you go. Or it could be just the number of servings of fruits and veggies that you ate during the day, and you can kind of see that on the charts, and as you visualize it over time, how that may have affected your overall health or your nutrition. So you can do that here. It's super easy. You're also going to notice, and this will appear on any dialogue where you're actually adding things, you can set up a timestamp. So all the data that you enter will now be timestamped. And we just by default say whatever the device time is. So I guess it's 4:11 by me right now, PM. So if I click on that, I can edit that. So obviously if I'm logging my lunch a couple hours later, I can just edit that up. And then I can also choose the diary group that this appears in, okay? And yeah, so it's pretty great way to stay organized and just add that time data to your food log. And that timestamp data also shows up on the food search here, just like I said before. If you for some reason you don't remember the time or you don't want the time associated, you can always just uncheck that, and you will not have that data. Cool. So the next thing that I want to show you is Add Note. So Add Note, generally you're just adding text, but you're going to have the ability to click on this camera icon here, and you can upload a photo to your to the note, and then we'll store that photo on this day in the note. And so if you ever, maybe you want to take a picture of your food at the time, or maybe you have some inspiring meme that you want to share or remind yourself of, you can put that here, and it will we'll store it up there just fine. Then let's see, up here in this 3-dot menu, we have got one option here. Okay, so clear all amounts. I don't want to do that, but yeah, that'll work. Okay, so clear all amounts is a convenience feature. So I'm assuming most of you know how to copy and paste all your entries back and forth, or log. Well, I will show you actually how to log daily meal plans as well. But when you have a long list of foods that you're copying and pasting from day to day using the copy previous day or copy current day features, you may want to alter those amounts, and you don't want to have to click through every single one and look at the thing. You can just hit clear all amounts, and it'll reset everything to 0. So now all you have to do is just edit your amounts as you would when you're logging your food, but you don't have to search anything. So it's a nice little convenience feature that you have access to. Now, because I've totally screwed up my data here, I'm just gonna delete everything. And I believe I imported from yesterday, so copy previous day. Great. So the other thing that I want to show you is how to create. So when you're first starting, when you're first starting to get up to speed, you're logging food, you're getting a sense of where you're getting your nutrition from. You might have a really good meal, or you might have a really good day of eating. What you can do is you can highlight those items by holding Shift and clicking each one. And once you have these highlighted items, you can right click. You're going to have an option here that's only accessible to gold users, and that is called Create Recipe from Selected Items. So if this is a breakfast that you love, that you kind of just threw together and you want to save for later, you can then group those items together into a recipe and label it as my favorite breakfast or whatever you want. We'll just click on that. Now we're blasted over to the custom recipe editor. I have a new recipe here, and we'll get into how to use this a little bit more later. But all the ingredients that I highlighted in the amounts that were in my diary are now logged as ingredients for this recipe. And now it's just as simple as naming it and then saving it, and you are good to go. So I'm going to jump back to the diary screen here. Right, so what else? Another feature, oh, yep, almost forgot this one. This is actually one of my favorites. So we have the ability to suggest, so we can look at your diary and we can see how much of your targets, like your energy target, your protein target, your net carbs, fat, all of your individual nutrient targets, we can look at that and say, okay, here are the foods that will best help you reach your remaining targets for the day. So that's this Suggest Foods button right here. So if you click it, we have a food suggestions dialog that appears. And what it does is, like I said, it looks at everything in your diary and suggests food to you that will most efficiently hit all your targets. So for example, here, spinach, a very keto-friendly food, and this is a keto account, this is a test account. You can see that let me zoom in a bit so you can see that better. You can see that this will, if I eat this amount, this 1 cup chopped from fresh, I will hit 8% more of my total nutritional targets. And what's great, and so then it'll show you the nutrients that it's actually highest in, and that's iron, manganese, and folate. And then you can add it to the diary by clicking this button. You can like it as a suggestion, so you'll see it more often, or you can dislike it, and then we won't show it to you again, saying, okay, I'm done with this, I don't want to see it. You can also X through a bunch of different suggestions, and we'll just keep them coming. And you can see, you can find foods that you would like to, that you'd like to eat. The other thing you can do is you can filter these foods down to vegetarian only or vegan only. So if you have some specific, restrictions that you want to adhere to, you can do that, and we'll suggest foods accordingly. You can also exclude, common allergens like seafood, nuts, and dairy. And if you don't want to see supplements like protein powders or anything like that, you can exclude those, and any custom recipes you may have created as well. So you can filter those out too. Now, the way that I like to use this is a really good planning tool. I know if it come dinner time, I say, all right, suggest me some food. I may not have, palak paneer, spinach and cheese and gravy. I may not have that in my fridge or at hand. So what I like to do is I like to use this as I'm planning my diet out for the week. I will, add some foods that I know I have, that I'm going to eat, and then I'll use this tool based on, to help fill out the remains of the day in terms of my nutrition targets. And so then I have a shopping list all of a sudden. I know what I need to go get if I want to make foods that if I want to make dishes that involve the foods on the suggestion list. So it's a great way to plan, and it's a great feature that you guys will have access to as Gold users. Okay, so Mary, I think, oh, no, there's one, I don't, that's not a Gold feature. I think I have everything on this diary page. We also, no, we show that for everybody. Yeah, I think that's everything on the diary page. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, I think so. We covered timestamps, right?
Yep. Sure
Yeah,
did.
no,
Cool.
covered it all.
All right, cool. So I see I have a few questions. Let me take those real quick. So how do you understand the macronutrient target numbers? So Regina, are you talking about the macronutrient target numbers down here? Is that what you're asking? You can type in yes in the chat or the Q&A, and I can answer that. But basically, if that's the question, what you do here, yes, it is. Okay, cool. So basically what we do in the settings, I'll just hop over here to settings, targets. When you set your macronutrient targets up based on whatever program you might be following, and we go over this, so we have a basics webinar that we do every Tuesday at this time. Mary, if you could put the link up in the chat for that. Basically what we do is we go through the basic setup and how to get Cronometer to kind of fit with whatever program you might be doing. And so basically we have three different options. We have a ratios option, a ketogenic calculator, and a fixed calculator. And basically what those do is we have, when you've created your account, we figure out your caloric needs based on your height, weight, and age, and your nutrition targets based on the recommendations from the Office of Dietary Supplements. And then what we do is we allow you to choose your macro settings, and that will determine how much calories are coming from each macronutrient. And when we have those calorie amounts, we translate those into gram amounts. And so what that does here is it sets you to a certain amount of protein per day. So let's say I need, 1,000 calories from protein. I don't know if that's actually the case here, but that translates to a specific amount of grams in protein. And so what you're seeing here is 46.1 grams of protein out of my daily target, which is 68 grams. And that's about 67% of my daily target of protein. And likewise, depending on how you set your carbohydrate tracking, net carbs or total carbs, you'll have that here as well. So how many grams of net carbs have I had? And my target is 30. Now, and likewise for fat. So you can do that for each of the macros, and that's generally how to understand what that is. And again, if you want to learn more about basic setup, you can join us for our Tuesday webinars. Cool. So I'll take that one down. And then we have a question in the chat from Ricky. How do you enter the weight in the daily diary? How do the targets get set? And how do you access the Oracle? I didn't catch it. Okay, cool. So so how do you enter the weight in the daily diary? That is going to be in Biometrics. It's going to be that top one up here. And if you don't see it up here, you can always search for it. So if you click weight, you click it, you're going to get your little smaller dialogue within a dialogue. You can enter that in. So I think it's like, let's get 189 unit, and we'll add it to my biomarkers, and I'll add that to the diary. Cool. So 189 pounds. And so now we're going to recognize that as the most recently added weight. And so what'll happen is when we determine your target, so there's a couple ways we do that, Ricky. So to determine your macronutrient targets, we look at your caloric requirements and your current weight, which is based on your height, weight, and age. And then we look at your weight goal, which you could have set up in settings. So you have a weight goal down here. You're choosing a weight loss rate or a weight gain rate in half-pound increments. Then you are, let's see. So that's and then basically depending on how you've set your macronutrient targets, so fixed values, macro ratios, that'll determine your macro targets, the final total of your macro targets. So how many grams of each macro you need, plus your total calories. Now, if you're talking about the individual micronutrients, I mentioned that earlier, when you create your account, we take the recommended daily targets, daily ranges for most of these nutrients from the Office of Dietary Supplements. These are called the DRIs, Daily Recommended Intake. And those are what we base our targets on here. Now, anything is customizable in Cronometer. So basically, if you're working with a healthcare professional, or if you know that you have special needs for a particular nutrient, you can just click on any of these gauges, and you can click on the custom tab or custom checkbox, and then go through and change those totals. So, and you also ask, how do you access the Oracle? There's this button right here on the, just above the, just next to the nutrient targets heading, below your macro nutrient targets gauges. So if I click that, it'll pop up the dialog. So let's see. So I'm going to show you how to, before we move on to creating daily meal plans, which is the next thing that I want to show you, I am going to show you how to do a lot of this stuff on the mobile app. So we are going to start in, let's see. So one thing that is not on the mobile app is creating custom biometrics. That's on its way. It's a couple months away, I think, but you can only add custom biometrics that you've already created on the web. So that just won't be accessible from the app. But you can add a note, and you can add that note with that picture icon, and you can take a picture right from your phone there. And again, you'll also see the timestamp data and the group data here. Okay, and that goes for logging food as well. Now, if we hop over to settings, we can scroll down to fasting. We'll take it to that. Diary settings. If we go to diary settings, this is where you can turn on groups in a diary. You can turn on timestamps. So those both should be enabled by default once you upgrade to gold. You can choose also the import data from. So when you connect a device like a Fitbit, you can choose which group your data is imported to. So if you have an exercise group up here, like I have all my biomarkers, you could choose the group to get all your data. Okay. Then, yeah, down here, down below, you can turn on which diary groups and edit the names. Let's see. I think that's everything here. Go back to diary. Then we've got, in the plus button, you can see the suggest food option. The UI is a little bit different. You've got, you're going to see one thing at a time, and you can just kind of swipe through, and you can see I didn't disable my recipes, so there's some funky titles in here. But you can kind of scroll through those things and see which foods will be your best option. And again, you can tap this 3-dot menu to see all the exclusions, which I'll do, and the diet types that we support. Cool. So what is next? Then we've got, so nutrition scores is not on mobile yet. That's something that's we're working towards. You'll notice we have the swipeable widgets up here. When you enable fasting, you actually get an extra fasting widget. And if you have the app open, we will send you alerts when your fasting is starting or ending, and you can always manage it from here as well. Let's see, I think that's it for that. Cool, I see Mary-Eve. Okay, so how should I understand the remaining kcal when I get my macros to 100%? Oh, interesting. So Douglas, I would ask you what settings you're using. Because if you've gotten your, oh, you know what it is? So how should I understand the remaining kcal when my macros get to 100? So what he's saying is, if you have, in these gauges here, if you have all of these macro gauges full to 100%, but your energy is not full yet, that is likely because you've set a weight goal that requires you to be in a caloric deficit. So that means you're not eating this full gauge here. So that's probably why you might see your macros get to 100, but you're not seeing your energy bar completely to 100. Okay. Any Whoop device? Yeah. So it's tough to know how popular some of these things are going to get, but we've had some requests for that, and we're definitely actively looking into a bunch of different devices to integrate with, but we don't have any plans in the near term for that one. On my laptop, I have the option to use a barcode, but not on my phone. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you have that in reverse. So on the phone, yes, you can use a barcode to scan your food. And in fact, our barcode scanner is by far the best barcode scanner of any of the tracking apps that are out there. And a matter of fact, I'll show you how to use it right now. So you're going to tap that plus button, that orange plus button right here. So if I do that, I'm going to have the scan barcode option. If I tap that, you can't scan a barcode on the laptop. I'm not sure if you had your platforms mixed up there, Elizabeth, but you can scan it on a device. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the scan barcode, and I'm going to look at this label here, which is not a food, but we'll scan it anyway. So this is clearly not a food, so it's not going to be in our database. So if I hit create new, we're going to ask you to take a picture of the nutrition label of the food. Now I happen to have a food here with a nutrition label, and I take the picture. Now watch what happens. I hit use photo, and now it's reading the label, meaning we're actually using, the app is actually looking at the text on the label, and it's importing that text for you. So you don't have to go and actually enter in all the, manually enter in all the numbers on the nutrition label. And so what's great about that, I'll just take a quick photo here for the front of the package. Now we can see, so here's the serving size, the serving weight, the energy, fat, trans fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbs. All that information from the label is going right into the app. So you don't have to enter any of it. So super convenient feature. If you're logging food that has a barcode, definitely recommend using the mobile app. And the mobile app and the web app, if you're using both, anything you do on the web will show up on the mobile and vice versa. So what else on this one? So let me see, we had another question come in. Is there a way to add a recipe via online? Oh yeah, so we are pursuing a recipe importer, but we do not, that's not available right now. So that's definitely on our roadmap. We don't have anything right now to support that. But what I am going to show you, Andy, is right now I'll show you how to basically build daily meal plans with our recipe editor. So this will be a great way to actually plan out your diets and make sure you're getting all the things that you want to eat in the day, and totally reduce the effort it takes to log your food every day. So let's see. I want to show you the foods tab. So I want to show you so we're going to talk about custom meal plans. So if we are looking in my created recipes, you're going to notice, I'll just look at a normal recipe. Let's call it, okay, avocado fritters. So you can see I just have a few ingredients, a few serving sizes, nothing crazy here. I'm going to assume you know how to create recipes. But again, if you want to go through the basics webinar, we do that on Tuesdays. But this is just a basic recipe. You know, I can prepare it, I can log it like any other food or in my custom tab. Then I'm actually going to show you something else. If I go to breakfast one here, if you take a look at this, I actually have a custom recipe that I've already created and a couple other food items that would constitute a whole breakfast, because you might have some things that are not in a complete recipe. And so what you can do is you can create whole meals using the custom recipe editor and other custom recipes. And you can take it a step further by creating an entire daily meal plan out of the meals that you have created previously. And that allows you to create different daily meal plans, and you can mix and match all the different things that you are creating. And so you can see here in meal plan day 1, I have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if I go to my diary, I'll jump to an empty day and I'll add a food. So you can either search it out near all my meal plan days, or you can go to your custom tab and it'll show all your custom foods there. So let's pick meal plan day 4, and I add that. And now in one quick search, I have all of my nutrition information for the day. And if I want to see exactly what I'm eating, I can just right click. There's going to be an explode recipe option on the menu that appears. And then you're going to have your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your snacks, your daily supplements, anything that you want to add and group up together, you can do. And so I'll just throw my supplements up there. I'll organize them in my groups. And then if you want to see what each of those meals contain, or each of those items contain, you can go ahead and explode those recipes. And this is great because now if for some reason, this is your plan, but maybe you left out the hummus today, you just delete that out. And now you have an accurate picture of everything that you ate for the day. And so this is a great way to plan out your diet throughout the week, and a great way to kind of just totally make it easy to log your food every day. Instead of having to search out all of these individual items, you can actually just log them all in just a few clicks. And it took me less than a minute to do. And obviously there's some front-loaded work about creating those recipes in the meal plans, but Regina, it's just as simple as right-clicking on a custom recipe, and it's going to be in that option there in the menu. It's called Explode Recipe. So this is a great way to, again, plan out your diet and just make it super easy to log food. Now, on the mobile app, we're going to look at, let me see if I have any custom foods here. I do not. Okay, so I'll jump forward. Let me find an empty day here to work with. One of these days. Okay, here we go. So on the mobile app, it's just the same. So what you can do is you can, on a custom recipe, you can swipe to the right to reveal a little extra menu. You tap that menu, and Explode Recipe is going to be the first entry on those additional options. And so if I explode that, just breaks that recipe out into its component parts. And so again, you can do all this on the mobile app too. You can create your custom recipes on the mobile app too. And again, if you want more instruction on how to do that, you can join us for our basics webinar. And yeah, it's a great feature to use, and it's super helpful. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to show you on the mobile app. So if you tap on this 3-dot menu up here, you're going to get an additional options menu. This is where you can copy current day, copy previous day, and do a number of the things that I showed you on the web already. But I'm going to actually choose multi-select here. So multi-select allows me to get these little check boxes here on all of the food items in my diary. And now with some of these selected, I can go back up to this 3-dot menu, and I have a different set of options to perform actions on the selected items. So if I were to go ahead and hit create a recipe from selection, I'm taken right to the recipe editor with all of those ingredients now added to the recipe I might want to create. So if you're creating that breakfast meal, you can group all those things together and then throw it in a meal plan in the future. Cool. Let me just back out of multi-select mode. Another thing that I want to show you, actually a trick when it comes to searching food on the mobile app that you guys may not know. So I'm going to turn that off and I'll turn it back on. So you can see here that I have, this is me looking for food. It's one thing at a time. I'll just log some baby spinach. Great. Okay, it's on my diary. Well, that list of foods, this is the most frequent foods list. I could maybe look at my favorites. Maybe I want to log 3 or 4 things from this list. What I can do is I can tap this icon up here, and I'm going to get this little shelf out here. And the thing that I want to show you is enable multi-add. So if I enable this, I now have those same checkboxes that you saw when I was in multi-select mode. But now I can actually select the items from the list. I can just add them to my diary. I could review them and add them to my diary, and then boom, they are all here. It's all the same stuff anyway. They are all here in my diary. And so it's a great way to reduce effort if you aren't using the meal plans, or if you maybe want to use them in combination. So yeah, so that's a really cool trick that you can use on the mobile app. Let's see, anything else come in? We saw that, so I answered that one. Will you show how to see historic fasting? Yep, we're gonna get to that, no worries. Let's see. Okay, cool. Yep, looks like we're doing good. So now we're gonna jump to the Trends tab, and I'm gonna show you guys all the new features that you guys have access to as Gold members on the charts page. So we're gonna go into Manage Charts, that was up here. Now you can see all of these charts that are built into Cronometer you have access to. So you can just, these are the two, the calories consumed and single metric, that are available on the free account. You can see that there's a whole 6 or 7 more. You can turn those on if you want. You can also, this is the coolest part in my opinion, you can also create custom charts too, which is great because now you can use that time-stamped data to see how your different biometrics are maybe affected by your diet and how things are changing throughout the day. And so to do that, you just click on Add Custom Chart, and you can create 2 different axes to track 2 different things together. So I can see how a biometric and a nutrient are tracking together. So maybe I want to look at weight and carbs. And then you just save the chart. It'll appear in this list, and then you'll be able to see it in the actual charts. So yeah, we'll scroll down to see that. So someone was asking about how to see the fasts in a chart. So I have what is essentially a constant running fast on this account. So the darkened areas in the chart are the fasting times. So you can see I was probably doing a little more intermittent fasting in this area here at this time frame. But what'll happen is you just go to your charts here. There's a 3-dot menu. There is a hide, fast, period, or show, depending on the state. And you can toggle the view of your fasting history in any of our charts. So again, super helpful for visualizing how something might be affecting your diet or your overall well-being. So then we have one of our first gold charts is the nutrient chart here. You can see when you're in the target range for the day for any of the nutrients that we track. We also chart those scores that I showed you before, so you can see how well you're supporting your immune system or any of the other ones that we track there. The glucose ketone index, that is a chart specialized for the keto diet. And then down here is a bunch of the custom charts that I have that you can see how things are kind of moving together. And this is test data here, so this is just a test data account, so it's not totally reflective of what might be happening in a real person. But let's see, so undo and delete button. So that's what you'll get with your on the charts feature. So an undo or delete button, that's, so we don't have I don't think we have an undo button. So if you delete something or if you edit something, there's no just quick fix for that. But to delete an item, it's just as simple as right-clicking and selecting delete. You can delete a whole group by right-clicking a group and selecting delete. And on the mobile app, you can, on any item, swipe to the left, and that'll reveal the icon, or you just do the long swipe. On a group here, you can slide that over to the right and tap that icon there to show you an additional menu, so you can delete all the items just like I showed you on the web, or you can copy or do any number of things here. So yeah, so that's how you would do that, Paul. Okay, cool. Let's see, so we're gonna jump back to trends. So there's some other gold features here in trends that I want to show you. I believe you're gonna get access to way more longer time frames of data. So if you've been with us for a while and you have lots of historic data that you want to check out, you can look at that here, and you can change it to any time frame. I believe the nutrition report I think it's part of the free account entirely, but you'll get your ratios at the bottom, and you'll also get access to longer time frames. But then these last two tabs, print, report, and snapshots. I'll do snapshots first. You can basically upload any image file that you want here and store it on the app. And this is mostly, I mean, it's designed for progress photos, let's say, but it could be pretty much anything that you want to upload. This is not available on the mobile app yet, but it's something that we're working on adding. Print report is essentially a report generator. So if there is someone you want to communicate with, maybe it's a medical professional or someone else that needs to know about your nutrition history and your diet, you can come to the print report, basically report builder, and you can create a nutrition report on yourself over any number or any time frame. And what you can do is you can customize it to include just about everything that we have in your account. So I have something from every category enabled here. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit print report, and you can see what's generated. And this thing, you can print it out to a PDF, you can save it or email it, or you can even print it out and have a physical copy to hand to somebody. Now you just get a little bit of detail up top, and then you're going to get the nutrition report. That is the nutritional averages over your selected time frame, so you can easily spot those deficiencies or any trouble spots in your diet. And then you can scroll down. You're going to get some charts. You can add any number of charts that we support. And then you can add your individual daily food log and the individual nutrient totals from each day. And so, obviously, if you have a long time frame selected, you could get quite a few pages if you have everything enabled. But you can include as much or as little as you like in this report. And then you can, again, print that to a PDF, save it for later, or what have you. So, question came in at the first screen: consumed, burned, remaining. If I get my macros to 100%, energy included, why is there kcals remaining? If I include more food, I'm going to have an unbalanced. Oh yeah, so okay. What should I do to get it balanced? Okay, so I would be more, and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong here.
It sounds like you might have set a custom energy target, Douglas. However, the budget, so the purple calorie budget box, doesn't take into account your custom fixed energy target. It really just does burned minus consumed, and it's going to take into account any weight loss goal you've set. So I think that could explain the issue. I'd recommend writing it to support with a screenshot, and we can help you troubleshoot what's happening.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, so let's see. So we are back on trends. I believe we covered everything in here. Now, there's a couple other features that I want to make sure you guys know about. So if we hop over, oh, and I should mention, we have all our charts on the mobile app too, so you can scroll through and see all those things. Now, what's really cool about this is if I tap these charts, I get a bigger view, and then I can turn the device sideways and get a nice landscape view of the chart, so I can kind of page through these and see what what might be going on with my charts. So that's super handy. And if you scroll, and I'll just do that again, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll have all your options. You can check those out and enable and set up your charts exactly how you like. And you have access to all the charting options that I described on the web. You can do all the things on the web on the mobile app too. So if we go to, oh, that's weird. Oh yeah, that's why. Did I just get logged out? Weird. Oh, and here's our two-factor authentication setting here. That's going to be cool. So let's jump to settings. So there's a couple other features that I want you guys to know about because they're super cool. So there's two-factor authentication. we're going to go to fasting. So we've talked a lot about fasting already, but if you want to enable fasting, you go to the settings fasting tab and you'll enable fasting here. It's not enabled by default, so you'll have to turn it on. Oh yeah, so to schedule a fast, so let's say you're asking about fasting 18 hours. So the best thing to do to set up a fast, I usually say, okay, well, when do you want it to start, right? The date and time, the start date and time is really important. So if I were to say, because right now when you open the dialog, it'll just pick the current time. So maybe I want that to start on the 20th and end the 21st, and I want it to be, let's call it 18 hours. Boom. So you see that now we have a fast that's set up properly. Now, if I were to do that in the reverse order, so if I were to start, just cancel out of this. If I were to start by, yes, you are able to add biometrics on the phone app, Elizabeth. If you just go to the plus button here, you just tap add biometric, and all your biometrics that you have will be on the app. You just can't create custom biometrics on mobile. Sorry, I got distracted by that other question there, but so just to finish answering your question, if you did that from the kind of the opposite way, so if I did, if I say 18 hours and I say, oh wait, I want it to start at, let's say August 19th, I want to start it at, I don't know, 7 p.m., 7 p.m., okay, boom. But you'll notice that when I change that start time, this didn't change, but the duration did. So just make sure that you set your start time exactly where you want it to start. Set your end time and actually you don't have to set your end time. Just set your start time to exactly where you want. And then set your duration, and that will adjust it to the end time based on the start time. So I hope that clears things up. Maybe that wasn't super clear. But yeah, you can set a fast up. You can set it to repeat as well, however often you like. Now, what's cool is we keep fasting history. So you can see I have a ton of fasts on this account. And that's what allows us to then display that on the charts. So that is our fasting feature. We also have a sharing feature that I think you guys should know about. So you can add a friend on Cronometer, and what that means is you're actually inviting another user who has a Cronometer account to be your friend. And what that does is it allows you guys to share all your custom recipes. So this is really handy for families who are, trying to stay kind of in sync with what they're eating and, eat the same thing and all log to a specific account without having to log recreate recipes across different accounts. And so what you can do, all you need to know is the email address of the account that you want to invite as a friend. And the next time they log in, I'll answer in a second. Every time when they log in, they'll get that sharing request. They can say yes, and then you guys will have your all your foods will be shared with each other, custom recipes. And so even better, Regina, that you do not have to be so the person only one of the people who are being shared with has to be gold. So that gold user can invite free users to share, and they can do it that way. So not everyone in the group would need to be gold. You can do it with any number of free users. Okay, I think. Oh, and I just want to show you, because we have a couple minutes left. So we have this help tab. It's really great. A lot of resources here. Cronometer University is our YouTube channel. I think it goes, let me see. It goes, oh good, it goes right to our channel, and you can watch replays of all our videos or all our webinars. Find a professional. This is our professional directory. So if you guys want specific customized advice, you can come in here and search based on specialty, based on location, anything that you want, and find the people that you want to learn more about. If you click view listing, you can learn a little bit more about what they do, how to contact them, and all that. Then if you go to, so here's our support link, one of our many. We have a user manual, extensive documentation, all the functions in the app. You can go there. We have a blog where we post some content here and there, and we have a community forum. So we have a lot of users who've been with us for a very long time. They're always open to help. So definitely check that out if you're confused on certain things too. So if there's any other questions, I will answer them. But I think, how do you change fasting time? Okay, so I think actually we've gotten all the questions that are in the queue. If anybody else has any questions, we can stick around for another couple minutes. Otherwise, I will go ahead and end the webinar. We'll just wait a minute, but thank you guys so much for being here. There is going to be a survey at the end of the webinar. If you would take a minute, fill it out. I would really appreciate, your feedback and learning how we can improve the app for you guys. So, all right, well, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. Thank you guys so much, and we'll call it right there. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great afternoon.